Untamed.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Platform.
iOS, it's only sport. Martin Devlin, Lachlan Waugh. There's two big games coming this weekend. You know what they are. Springboks versus All Blacks. Always the biggest, most ferocious, most anticipated encounter in world rugby. Brodie Retallick on the podcast. Nick Evans out of England. And Greg Martin, the former Wallaby, out of Australia. But first, as always, tablets in hand, I say gather my flock. Grant Robertson. Yeah, let's go to the mountaintop.
We live in an amazing, amazing world, and it's wasted on the crappiest generation of just spoiled idiots.
There's a really good reason why people haven't bought as many tickets to the FIFA Women's World Cup games here in New Zealand as the organisers would have liked. It's called a cost of living crisis. So rather than pointing the finger at the general public for not supporting the event, Mr. Finance Minister, Mr. Sports Minister Robertson, how about admitting that 6 years of you and your cronies in charge has left most Kiwis in a situation where they're simply struggling every week to stay afloat and pay their bills? Because that's much more of a truth than your implied jibe that we as sports fans in this country just don't care about the event. Grant Robertson yesterday raising much ire after telling us Kiwis en masse to, I quote, lift our game in regards to World Cup pre-sales. Figures were released detailing that well below half the allocated 900,000 tickets here had not been sold. Now, you compare that to Australia, we're definitely dragging the chain because over 1 million people have snapped up tickets over there before the first ball is even kicked. The reality here, though, is of the 29 matches scheduled, very few are going to be sellouts, and that comes down to a range of factors. Firstly, there's a supply-demand equation. Is the product attractive enough for consumers to want to purchase? Well, I would say yes. I would say definitely yes. A fortnight out from kickoff, almost 300,000 tickets have been sold across New Zealand for women's football matches. Now, pause for breath and repeat that a few times. 300,000 for women's football. I think those numbers are actually something quite remarkable. You know, you compare those figures to, say, how many bought tickets for Super Rugby. Well, 300,000 people didn't pay to watch that competition over the 16 or 17 weeks of it. Probably about 299,000 more than those who forked out to pay to watch Super Rugby O-Picky. Let's be honest about that. And when it comes to round ball in this country, look, the average crowd at a men's Phoenix game is about 6,000 to 7,000. The average crowd at a women's Phoenix game, you could count probably on the back of both hands. Football in this country doesn't have a record of selling out matches. The All Whites, World Cup qualifier against Peru, World Cup qualifier against Bahrain, those matches sold out. But tell me any others with round ball in this country where there has been an absolutely packed house. In actual fact, very few sports in New Zealand do sell out. The All Blacks do. The Warriors do. The Breakers when they were on their finals winning run. But very, very few indeed. The tickets are reasonably priced. I got to say, most matches offering packages of $20 for adults and 10 for children. And on the surface, that sounds pretty damn affordable. But when you add in the in-stadium food, drinks, the travel and or the parking for a family of four, well, the day trip comes closer to around $150, $200 or more for an afternoon's entertainment. And you've got to weigh that up against every other option that's out there for a family. Movies, gigs, concerts, going to the zoo, whatever. A couple of $100 to see a game of football not involving a New Zealand side, well, you know, I mean, these are the kind of exact decisions in terms of attending matches that ordinary Kiwis are being asked to make. And as always, the truth is only found in the actual sales numbers, and people will continue to vote as they always do with their wallets in their feet. I think Robertson's comments did nothing but reaffirm how out of touch with ordinary people's lives he actually is. Chiding us Kiwis and telling us, the voters, let's not forget, to raise our game in terms of ticket purchase was both uncaring and arrogant. Perhaps the minister might be forthcoming as to inform us all about how much he paid for his corporate box largesse on opening night, because we all know if he even bothers to attend at all, it won't be because he's paid for any of it, including the ministerial limo ride there and back himself. Instead of demanding we spend money on anything, how about listening to an electorate demanding that you stop wasting money on everything? I think October is when those remarks could well come back to haunt Robertson. Instead of telling the voting populace to raise our game, the answer on election night, if you believe the most recent polls, might well reflect more on his government's consistent inability to raise theirs.
Devlin.
What do you want? We want information. Information. You won't get it.
The Platform.
Sports news headlines.
Yeah, well, the biggest sports news of the day, the All Blacks team being named. I'm going to run through the 23.
Can you, before you do that,
Yeah.
let's just rewind to a Nostra Devlin pre-squad announcement prediction, which I made about an hour ago. If I will play this myself, it says in no uncertain terms that I know exactly what was going to happen. All right, Lachlan, confirm it is 12:15, 15 minutes before the All Blacks side is officially announced, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I will tell you right now, the front row is exactly the same as it was against Argentina, except for Samasoni comes in as hooker. The two locks are going to be Brodie Retallick and Scott Barrett. Shannon Frizzell will stay at 6. The first 5 is Richie Mo'unga. I can tell you this for absolute fact. I know this. I can feel it. It's not like I've had a word from anyone. I can feel it. The only position that I'm still a little uncertain of is right wing, but I will predict that Will Jordan comes into the side for that. Maybe I might get that one wrong, but the rest of it, rock solid. Let's see.
Beauden Barrett at fullback?
Beauden at fullback. Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm actually genuinely surprised about Cody Taylor. We'll talk a little bit further about this. Keep going, though. But that squad, not bad.
Yeah,
Got it
you
right.
weren't too far off there. I mean, the confidence was a little bit much, considering you weren't actually bang on. But Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor, Tyrell Lomax, that's the front row. Brodie Retallick returns in Test 101. He'll be with Scott Barrett in the second row. Shannon Frizzell, Sam Cane, Ardie Savia, the loose forwards. No real surprises there. Aaron Smith, Richie Mo'unga, Mark Talea on the left wing. He's played 2 tests for the All Blacks. I think he started both, and I'm pretty sure he started both on the left wing last year against Scotland and England. Pretty sure he was on the left wing, so this isn't foreign territory for Mark Talea. Geordie Barrett, Rico Ioane, the midfield, no surprises at all there. Will Jordan comes back on the right wing. We talked about this yesterday. I'd rather see him at fullback, but sure, right wing, that's all good. Beauden Barrett at fullback, not really a shock there. The bench, Samasoni Taukei'aho, I thought he'd start. Tamaiti Williams, awesome to see him coming off the bench. He's set to make his debut. Nepola Alala, Tupuvai, Dalton Papali'i, Finlay Christie, Braden Ennor, Caleb Clark. The biggest thing to note is there's no first 5 cover off the bench, but you do have Beauden Barrett, who can play first 5, obviously. So should something happen to Richie Mo'unga, Barrett slotted in at 10. Should something happen to both those guys at a stretch, Geordie Barrett can play 10. So that's the All Blacks team. Meanwhile, in Springboks camp, Captain Eben Etzebeth is in doubt for tomorrow's Rugby Championship contest at Mount Smart Stadium. His father passed away. Very sad news. Etzebeth was set to make his return from a shoulder injury, but could travel back home after his father, Harry, died in Cape Town after battling a long-time illness. The All Blacks 15. Excuse me, sorry. The New Zealand 15.
Yeah, please, exactly. Let's
The New
rewind that.
Zealand
And start again on that, because not on this particular program, mate. We're not going to sully the name of the All Blacks with this contrived load of pony.
Yeah, the New Zealand 15
Thank you.
has been named for their matchup with the Japanese national side. See, I've seen multiple things. Something said that we played Japan 15 then Japan. Something else said we played Japan 15
this is what's
twice.
so confusing
but
about
we're
it.
playing the Brave Blossoms. We're playing the national side of Japan, the New Zealand 15. That's tomorrow. Liam McDonald's side. No, Aiden Ross, George Belge, Maine Ainsley, Natui Akoi, Quinton Stranger, Kitty Ioane, Billy Harmon, Peter Gusasoa, Kula, Brad Weber, Stephen Petafeta, Jonah Nareki, Jack Goodhue, Billy Proctor, AJ Lamb, Ruben Love. That's the starting team for that match. State of Origin Game 3 last night. It was a dead rubber. Queensland already had sewn up the series, but obviously something still to play for both camps. But Queensland did miss out on a chance to sweep the series. New South Wales winning 24-10 at ANZ, the Olympic Stadium in Sydney. They call it a core stadium now. Over 75,000 fans, which means that it obviously was not a sellout. Queensland had won the first 2 matches 26-18.
Crowd, though. It's a pretty good crowd,
Oh, it's a good crowd. For a dead rubber, it's actually a good crowd. Well, you just said this before, so it's not really a news story, but that FIFA has announced it will give away 20,000 free tickets to the Women's World Cup this month for matches in New Zealand's 4 host cities. As an official FIFA women's football partner, Xero is offering 5,000 complimentary tickets to games in Dunedin, Wellington, Hamilton and Auckland to ensure Kiwis are getting involved with the biggest women's sport event
Wouldn't
on
you
the
be
planet.
a little peeved if you've gone and paid for tickets and now they're giving them away for free?
Yeah, but-
I mean, everyone that's got a ticket should get given another ticket, shouldn't they? Yeah. Or a deal?
Well, you know, I mean, you're helping out FIFA by giving them some... Oh, no, they don't actually need the money.
Right, yeah, sorry,
Never
yeah.
mind. Wimbledon men's singles quarterfinals overnight. Spaniard and top seed Carlos Alcaraz has advanced. He's beaten Danish tennis, I'll say young Danish tennis star Holger Rune, 7-6, 6-4, 6-4. Victory, straight sets, pretty simple win there for Carlos Alcaraz. He'll meet Daniil Medvedev in the semis, the Russian, but he doesn't have the Russian flag next to him during the tournament. Medvedev defeated American Christopher Eubanks in his quarterfinal. In the women's draw, Madison Keys knocked out Arina Sabalenka, the second seed, through to the semis. Ons Jabeur knocking out the defending champion Elena Rybakina in 3 sets as well.
I hope she wins. I hope she wins. She's had a couple of close. She's got close, hasn't she?
Yeah, well, she lost the final last year to Rybakina.
Yeah,
so she's beaten.
And also was the Australian Open or the US Open? She's lost a couple of Grand Slam finals. Yes.
And finally, Belgian cyclist Jasper Philipsen posted his 4th stage win at this year's Tour de France, taking his career tally to 6. In the general classification, Jonas Vingegaard remains out in front. He's got the yellow jersey by 17 seconds ahead of Tadej Pogačar. Those are the 2 stars in the Tour de France, and they're both very young, so this is going to be a rivalry that hopefully sticks around for a little while longer. But Jonas Vingegaard is out in the lead.
Devlin.
Oh my goodness me!
The platform.
The big guzzler. Brodie Retallick playing his 101st test for the ABs against the Springboks. Awesome to have you back. 101 tests, man. Wow.
Yeah, it's. I guess it's good to get over 100 now. Obviously, getting to the 100 mark, but getting one over it. No, it's good. It's actually been a good couple of weeks. The boys got about their work, and there's real good focus on what we need to achieve. So, feel the group's in a good spot.
Oh, that sounds fantastic to hear. So, what does that translate to for us fans? Does that mean what training has been crisp?
I think that's been, Chris is a good way to explain it. That obviously we do a lot of work learning each week around different set plays and lineouts and stuff like that. And when people are across their detail early in the week, and allows you to train well, and then hope it turns to a good performance. That's what you kind of like to see from within the squad now, with a little bit of experience. And no mistake, the South Africans are coming and they're going to bring it, but. I feel like we're in a pretty good spot, that's for sure.
Oh, last week was magnificent. I know hard to watch from the sideline for you because you would have been playing, but that was a great All Black performance.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think, especially to see some of the backs scoring some kind of counter-attack tries and playing off the cuff, and then I thought the full pack controlled the Argentinian pack outstandingly well. So it's a good when you see stuff that you train and pay off on the game time.
I'm going to ask you a really boring question. Give me your core role, man. What do you go out there and actually, what do you get told to do or what you know what to do? What are the most basic things that you actually first think of?
Catch the ball.
Go on.
Obviously we've got line-out moves, and I think, when you come in here, you just have to, like say, nail your role, and for a lock, it's set piece, scrum, line-out, kick-off, and then the stuff around the field comes off the back of that. So get the set piece right first, and then look after the rest.
Carrying the ball, we've seen you throughout especially the early stages of your career. You used to do a hell of a lot of that. Are we going to see more of that leading into the World Cup?
I think the way the game plan was sort of 5-7 years ago, got to carry the ball a lot more. I think defences are a lot better than they were probably then, and the style of plays changed. But definitely, as much as I can get my hands on the ball, and it's certainly a part I enjoy. Playing
South Africa, Brodie, how is that different, right?
Yeah, I think it's the test matches you want to be a part of, the South African one. We all saw what they did against Australia last week, and they always turn up. So they're definitely pretty special, and one to look forward to.
Just physically, we all talk about this and we say that they're big and they're nasty and all of that kind of stuff. Is it physically a lot different playing that team than it is other test teams, or is all test matches really physical?
I think all test matches are physical, but the difference probably with South African is they just want to run straight at you and straight over top of you, whereas you play someone like England or Australia, they use a bit more footwork and trying to find weak shoulders and stuff like that, but you know exactly what the South Africans are going to do. So it's probably more physical in that way, that it's a bit more competitive, but that's their style of play, and also they tackle off the back of it and try and turn it into contestable, so they've got a couple of elements to it these days.
I've been amused because all the media, of course, been you're making most of those photos of you, and it's about having a quiet conversation about where you're going to go for dinner afterwards at one of those one of those matches. Yeah. Is that, when you see those, what does it make you think?
I always look at the size of the difference in our biceps, like his I think to myself, geez, I better get back in the gym. But it's all part of the game, right? Like, pretty friendly off the field and have a beer afterwards. So, it's, I guess, competitive people.
Are they actually a good bunch of blokes, are they?
Yeah, they are. They're a good bunch of fellas, and like I say, it's one of the good parts about rugby. You know, you battle on the field and enjoy it afterwards. So it's always enjoyable.
Brodie, tell us where Sam is at, mate.
He's going good. He's been training, and I think he potentially was available for selection this week. I'm not sure. Maybe the lack of game time isn't why he's not playing, but he's definitely back training and getting amongst it, and obviously not there this week, but no doubt he'll be rearing to go for the Aussie test.
A couple of quick questions, I'll let you go, because I know that you're very busy, obviously, at this time. Not running out onto Eden Park, which, in Auckland, that is our home, that is the All Blacks' home. Mount Smart, how is it different? Yeah,
I think it's different, obviously, location-wise, but, for us, it would be nice to be playing at Eden Park, but also with the FIFA World Cup here, it's a massive occasion, and it's just the way it is. And I think we played there 3 or 4 years ago before heading to Japan World Cup against Tonga. So some of the boys have been there before, and look, at the end of the day, we get the job done, and it doesn't matter where you play.
And finally, look, I know that it's not the World Cup, but every single one of these matches, as you said earlier, this is a test for the All Blacks. It's against South Africa. Do we just isolate this game and just look at it purely as what it is? That's what it is.
Yeah, definitely. I think they sent some people over earlier, and we've travelled to Argentina, but at the same time, coming off the back of last year, we're looking to build some consistent performances. In the World Cup, I don't think you can read too much into it now, but at the same time, people are trying to find some form and build some combinations and build confidence. So at the end of the day, it's still got a lot riding on it, and it's a test match, and both teams want to win it and move on.
This must be such a buzz to look forward to, mate. How do you spend the next 24, 48 hours?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it's special too, because there's obviously only 2 test matches in New Zealand this year, and this is one of them. But yeah, we're about to head to training now, and then kind of build into the weekend. That tapers off a little bit, but just be nice and fresh and ready to go really is the key.
I'm the Minister of Common Sense. That goes without saying, doesn't it? Every time I say that,
next,
you come back with...
We need to talk.
Okay,
we need to talk.
Talk or bitch it. Oh, hey. I think I need another one of those.
We need to talk.
I'm sorry.
We need to talk.
Why is it? Why is it whenever you say sorry that they don't accept sorry? Why is it that with women, that as soon as you say sorry, that they actually just look as though that you haven't said anything, that you've just said?
Because most of the time when we say it, we don't mean it.
Oh, jeez, it was sudden Truth Thursday, Lachlan. I'm the Minister of Common Sense, which means I get to ask the questions. Lachlan, working in my office, I demand that you answer these questions. Is this All Black team the team that you would have chosen?
Me personally, no, because I'd have my midfield of Dallas McLeod, Lester Whanganuku.
Okay, well in that case,
now,
it's bloody stupid, isn't it?
That's good. But seriously, yes, probably. I would have gone with Samasoni at starting hooker, so I'm a little surprised to have gone with Cody Taylor. I actually like the selection of Mark Talia, because I think he's been the best winger in New Zealand for the last...
he's got to get given a chance,
for the last 12 months.
Got to get given a chance.
I would like to see Will Jordan at fullback, but I understand why he's not. I would love to see... I'm glad Mighty Williams is on the bench. I'm not glad to see Nepolo Alala. If there's one of him or Offa that gets dropped from that 23, it should be him. Offa at least has the versatility of being able to play on both sides of the scrum. Nepo has been, I think, incredibly underwhelming and disappointing for about 5 years now. How he keeps getting on that bench, let alone starts some tests, with all due respect, is a joke.
Next!
Damien McKenzie then, henceforth on this program to be called Dame Mo, played outstandingly well against Argentina. A couple of goal-keeping blicks to start with, and of course he had the kick charge down, but he regathered himself, and his running from deep, particularly impressive. What does this tell you about the ranking order now of the All Black first fives?
Well, I think we already knew that Richie was the number one.
Yes.
So nothing last week would have changed that. Damo could have had the game of his life. I don't think it would have changed that, because Richie Mo'unga hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't done anything to lose that jumper. I think the surprise is that there's no first five cover on the bench. And as much as Broden Barrett will provide that, should we need someone to slot in at 10, I still would have thought, based on how he performed last week, that Ian Foster would still like to see him run out against an opponent that we are likely to come up against in the quarterfinals.
Well, that's either them or Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, them or Ireland. So
where are we stronger than them? Looking at the Springboks side, looking at our side. I'll give you the answer. It's the back line. Because you can't say that we've got a stronger forward pack.
I was going to say back line, but they have a very good back line. I would say there's a bit more dynamism in our playmaking positions at 10 and 15. But Lachlan Waugh is probably the best centre in the world. Damien Diolende has been starting at second five for a long time for the Spring. They've got a very good back line.
Are they going to get the ball?
Well, I don't know.
Are they going to get is the ball going to go past the guy that's playing 10?
Well, they love 10-man rugby, but at the same time, there have been big games in the recent past, where they have spread the ball out wide, and most notably in the 2019 World Cup final. So I actually don't know where on the park we are out and out.
Okay, question then is, where are they superior to us?
Forwards. Everywhere in the forwards. I'd say in terms of the starting team.
I don't know about the front row. I actually think we've got some equality there in the front row. I think we've definitely got parity in the front row. But I would say that certainly their loose forwards are stronger and bigger than us. And I
was going to say the opposite. I think the Springboks have a brilliant front row, and they have for a long time. They always do.
But ours is pretty impressive.
Ours is good as well. Well, yes, Ethan de Groot, yes. Love Ethan de Groot. I think he's been absolutely awesome in the scrummaging department. Cody Taylor, yes, experience, that's good.
Except when it comes to throwing bloody lineouts, isn't it, mate?
There's this love affair with Tyrell Lomax is a very good prop. He's a good player, but I think he's been the beneficiary of other players in that position being very underwhelming. Not saying he's bad. He's a very good prop, but I just think...
the best we've got at the moment.
Well, that's the thing. But I don't think it's like he's an Owen Franks. I don't think he's, a Tony Woodcock, where they are there consistently because they are absolutely sensational.
You're talking about two of the greatest ever wear
I know. Well, that's what we've been used to for so long.
Yes. 3 more questions for you. Who has more impact off the bench, them or us? South Africa or the All Blacks?
Far out. I'd actually lean towards them. You've got Malcolm Marx.
They got a 6-2 split. We've got a 5-3 split. That's forwards and backs.
So they're going to bring on 6 new forwards in their second half.
Yes, they are.
Three
and
of those
remember
guys,
last year, they were subbing their props after 30 minutes, remember?
Yeah. So, you've got Malcolm Marx, you've got Peter Steph Tutoy, you've got Dwayne Vermeulen, 3 of the best forwards, full stop, in the world, and they're coming off the bench.
Yeah.
We've, Samasoni Tokiaho, very good player. I don't think he's as good as Malcolm Marx. Tamaiti Williams, big fan of Tamaiti Williams, and hopefully he does bring some grunt off the bench. But Nepo Lalala, underwhelming. Tupuvai, good, but yet to see a game-breaking performance. Dalton Papali'i, I think this year hasn't actually been that good.
So 2 to go then. If we win this test, what does it mean?
Well, it's hard to say it means really anything in a World Cup year.
Well, it means we win the test.
Well, it means we win the test, yes, and it's always great to beat them. And
yes.
I think we're the opponent for them, that regardless of the occasion, if it's a friendly, a warm-up, if it's in a World Cup year, if it's the final of a World Cup, regardless, they're always going to get up for it. So there's a bragging right in that sense. But in the great scheme of things, I don't know. I'm not really looking
All right, final question then for you before we take a little break, and then we're going to come back with Brendan Nell. Jamie Wall awaits. He's at the presser at the moment. As soon as that finishes, he'll join us from Camp All Blacks. Final question then. If we lose, what does it mean? See, you can't be too excited about winning, then you can't be too excited.
Not worried. Not overly worried if we lose. Not overly excited if we win. Because I think we will lose because I think they're a better team, and I get the feeling that they'll place a little bit more importance on this game than us. So if we lose. If we get blown out, that's worrying. If we get beaten, if it's like Nelspruit last year where we were beaten in every facet of the game, the score doesn't represent
that would just be a hell of a worry, wouldn't it? Because, you're looking at these players and you're going, well, who do we go to next if these guys, if this isn't working, who?
Exactly. So I'm hoping that if we lose, at least we're competitive, at least we have the upper hand in some departments of the game. I don't want us to get absolutely beasted in the forwards, even though they will probably out-muscle us in many departments, but as long as we hold our own, and as long as there's some firepower of sorts out of the back line. Even if we lose, I'm happy if there's a competitive performance from the All Blacks.
One of the forgotten sons of New Zealand rugby. Played a fair few matches for the All Blacks between 03 and 07, but played over 200 for his beloved Harlequins, where he's now the assistant coach of England for the Six Nations. Welcome to the show, Nick Evans. Did you watch the games last weekend? What did you think?
I did, mate. It was, brilliant. I think the Boks were powerful, probably the best way to describe it. Australia have got a lot of work to do. and I think defensively they gave up nearly 20 odd clean breaks, Australia. So there's a lot of work to do in there. I mean, I didn't even have a clue what their kicking strategy was, and it played into the South Africans' hands, and they dominated the game from start to finish. And obviously, I'm sitting here looking at the replacements for the game against New Zealand, and I mean that in itself tells the story of the squad that they're building for the World Cup. So, but the All Blacks looked good. I thought they were brilliant. It was a good start. They looked unpredictable. They changed a lot of the way they played. They looked variable, which is great. They looked fast, powerful. I thought Argentina looked poor. I mean, for an example, they had New Zealand had three 7-man lineouts, and they won it right at the back. I mean, Argentina had 2 pods there waiting for it, and they still couldn't win it. So, it's not often you see an Argentinian scrum go backwards as well. So I thought New Zealand were good, and it sets up nicely for this weekend.
Yeah, how big a test is this? I mean, this is probably, if you look at the fixtures that the All Blacks have got to face, we've got to play South Africa again in London, a couple against Australia. But this you could just about tick as being the toughest game ahead of that World Cup opener.
I think this will give a real good indication of where both teams are, especially the All Blacks. I think the chat coming out of the South African camp is like this is the ultimate test. New Zealand and South Africa is what the Test rugby for South Africa is all about, and they've selected a team that reflects that. The 9 that went down to New Zealand ahead are ready to go. The bench is stacked. New Zealand coming off a really good performance. Do they change the way they play? Obviously, the kicking strategy was interesting. They didn't kick off 9 at all, really, against Argentina. I suspect that'll change a little bit against South Africa because you have to stay in the fight against them and take the moments when they come. Or do they try and double down on the tactics from the weekend? So, I think it's, you don't win a World Cup in a game like this. I think it obviously goes a long way to winning the championship, but I think it'll give a good indication of where this All Black team is.
Ireland and France, with so much chatter down here about how good those two teams are. We saw them in the Six Nations. What are your thoughts going into that World Cup? Ireland that team to beat? Do they deserve their number 1 seed?
I think they do. If you're asking me personally, I think South Africa are the team to beat. But I think Ireland and France are very, very strong. Ireland have been building for a number of years now. They're 7 years down the track. Andy Farrell took over from Joe Smith, and there they had a real cohesive unit, and they've just carried that through. And what they are really good at is they're very good around the detail, very, very powerful around the ruck. Their ruck work is, especially in attack, is one of the best in the world at creating quick ball for Gibson Park and Johnny Sexton if he's going to be around, obviously. But I think their pack goes underrated. The difference between them and probably France have probably got the power that can actually match South Africa and Ireland. That they are a big unit, and having coached against them in the Six Nations, and just seeing the English pack against this French pack. I mean, you've got their lineup jumping number 6 that was dwarfing Mario Toje and guys like that. So they have a pack that can really match the power teams, and they've got the magician in Dupont, who is I mean, I've seen it firsthand. He's one of the best on the planet. Unbelievable at what he can create. So, I think they deserve where they are. They've played well, and they've got the results to back it up.
Fascinating weekend ahead of us here, mate. And look, we won't stop talking about this till come September, will we? I mean, this is the great thing about it, Nick, as well. And I mean, a lot of people have been saying. But just for rugby fans, going into a World Cup finally where genuinely none of us know. I mean, any one of 6 teams could probably beat each other on the day. Can one of those teams get consistent enough to win 3 test matches, quarter semi-final and back-to-back weekends?
That's it. I think exactly like you say, this is the World Cup we've all been waiting for. I think, the previous probably 2 and 3, there's been maybe 3 that can go on and win it realistically. As you said there's 5 or 6 that can do it now, and it's going to come down to who can string the games together, who can play knockout rugby. And I think the important thing is to look at how, entertainment probably doesn't win World Cups. It's the teams that are going to go in, that have the game, that can win those knockout games when the pressure comes on. And certainly, as for me, I think South Africa are probably leading that. Ireland have a very good game that can do that. Certainly New Zealand are in with a mix. I think they're going to go in under the radar a little bit, which will be interesting for the New Zealand public to watch. But I think that's good for them. I think England are going to just try and be really hard to beat, having been there and around the camp. They're going to play a strong kicking game, very defensive minded, and just try and stay in games. And as I said, they're on the right side of the draw, so they could easily find their way to a semi-final, and then it comes down, 2 games and you win the World Cup. So who can back it up? Who can go, repeat good performances after good performances, especially in the later part of the tournament, is the key.
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full.
The Tight Five.
5 separate sporting topics, roughly a minute or so on each. And when the bell goes ding, so do we, on to the next topic. Costo coming after 3 o'clock. Also Greg Martin from Triple M out of Brisbane, the former Wallaby fullback. Let's talk about Origin 3. And does it really matter, that result? Let's talk about the South Africa-New Zealand test. Does it really matter, that result? 660 bombed at Stadium Australia last night. The reviews are just awful. They have been roundly slagged as sending the crowd to sleep, when in actual fact they're meant to be rock and roll and rev them up. Ticket sales for the Women's World Cup we've got to talk about. Wimbledon. And is it just going to be tick the box for Novak or your man Alcaraz? Is he going to come through? There is the New Zealand 15 playing against Japan. There are the Black Ferns playing against the United States this weekend. And Lachlan happens to be peeing about every 30 minutes.
Well, what?
I'm just saying, mate. I just think you need to explain to people why you keep getting up and going to the toy all the time. Let's talk about Origin to start with. Does that result matter?
No.
Hell yes, it does.
Oh, based on what?
But based on the fact that we needed to win New South Wales, and even
so you can keep Brad Fittler. You know what? Maybe Queensland lost on purpose so that Brad Fittler stays in the job for another couple of years.
So, I must have, but I fell asleep by the time the second half rolled around. I was a bit underwhelmed.
Oh yeah, I was nodding off after 20 minutes.
Yeah, the whole thing. Isn't it weird when it's a dead rubber? Like I love the series and I love the occasion, and I've loved the fact New South Wales got a win, but it just was a bit flat. Seemed a bit flat, didn't it? And you kind of felt, did you not? Even if you just watched a little bit of it, that England, just the intensity wasn't there.
No, I mean, there was a chance early on where New South Wales seemingly got a try, but to Bradman best, I think. But there was a couple of offsides when Cody Walker kicked the ball, but that was within like the first minute of the game. And they were just a step ahead of Queensland. Not because they are better, but I just don't think Queensland... The thing is, those players who are playing, all of them are playing for teams who are probably in contention for the finals.
Yeah.
And so all of them are out there going, well, it'd be cool to win this, but I'm not going to go too hard and try and break something or risk,
what's actually more important to me is actually playing in 2 or 3 days' time, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. For my club, who are, you think of Cowboys players like Ruben Cotter and what's his name? Taulangi. What's Taulangi's first name? Is it? I keep thinking it's Manu. It's not. Taulangi, the winger. I mean, they're on a team who are on an absolute roll and can't have their momentum stunted in any way. And so the best thing to do for that is, if you're one of the star players, is, well, not to overwork yourself in a game 3 days before.
Text come in, it says it does matter, Marty. It does. If they got swept 3-0, that's horrible for New South Wales. I agree with that. Doesn't matter we won, but at least Tedesco and the rest shuttled the haters up and both played very well. Yeah, but Tedesco, I mean, for God's sake, mate, I mean, really? You played well in the third game of a dead rubber of a defeated Origin series? Come on.
I mean, I'll say this. I've always quite liked Bradman best, and he had a good game. And that was kind of cool to see. And so for New South Wales, it gives them selection options for next year. But it just doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't.
The result of the South Africa-New Zealand test, does it really matter? Hell yes. Again, of course it bloody matters. I'll give you a reason.
What would you rather, us win this test and win everything until the World Cup final, or us lose this, maybe another test and
I don't
look
answer
pretty
hypothetical
average?
questions, mate. I put those hypothetical questions to you is what I do.
Because you know what the answer is. You'd obviously rather win the World Cup than this test.
But, we can't sit there and think that the only thing that matters in terms of the All Blacks is every 4 years in that Rugby World Cup. The in-between games are really important because of, and I go back to what Justin Marshall always says to us, look, we have built up a team that over 100 and something years has had a fantastic winning percentage, and it's really important that we continue that. Otherwise, mate, none of us are going to give a stuff about anything other than every...
I agree, but if this is a team that... I mean, right up until 2011, what was the talk about the All Blacks when it came around to the World Cup? chokers, okay? We were known as chokers. Sure, win every test in the 3 years outside of the World Cup. But if you don't win the World Cup... It's like,
we changed that once. As soon as we won back-to-back, which no team is... That was it. That choker thing went out the window, mate.
That'll evaporate probably the next World Cup cycle. People will forget about it. I mean, no one ever really talks about the fact that the Wallabies won 2 World Cups in the 90s. They won 2 of the first 4. No one talks about that anymore.
No, they don't.
Because time has passed and they've been rubbish at the last... They were rubbish at the last World Cup.
It means a shite load to somebody like me because
I agree. It does as well. It does mean a lot to me as well. But I just, I'm not ripping my hair out if we lose.
The New Zealand 15 versus Japan. Please text me 5050 if you honestly give some about this. Does anyone care about this? Obviously the players do. Obviously their families do. But is it a must-watch sporting match for the weekend?
Oh, no. When you've got the All Blacks on, you've got the Warriors on, you've got Wimbledon on, Tour de France.
This is why I hate this. This is why I hate them naming that team the All Blacks 15, because it devalues everything about the All Blacks. It's not the All Blacks. It's a C or D team of players in New Zealand that some of these guys might get called up to the All Black squad for the World Cup if we have a huge run of injuries. But the point of this is,
that's what I'm thinking.
I'm sure there's a trophy that's got a name that's got a shiny silver thing on it, and they put it in the cabinet, and everyone goes, "What the hell's that?"
What would be better?
Looks as though it came out of the dishwasher.
Because I'm the same. I sit there and go, "Oh well, no, it gives a chance for these sort of fringe players to have a run." But what's the point? Because they're not going to be at the World Cup, bar catastrophic injuries, as you say. What would be better is if we had a team of like under 23s or something like that. Guys who are going to be the future of the All Blacks, get them playing a very good international side. Why don't we do that?
Yeah.
Get guys like Peter Lakai. They're at a World Cup right now, but
playing off a 7th and 8th.
Yeah, no. Get
Seventh
someone
and
like Peter
eighth, they're
Lakai,
under
who we look at and think is going to be a future loose forward star for New Zealand, or going to play, and get him playing.
They should come back embarrassed into this country. 7th and 8th, their under 20 team.
Yeah,
what a come down, eh?
It's not good.
660 bombed at Stadium Australia. You want to read their reviews, people? Just been slagged.
Yeah.
Look, 660 are very popular here in New Zealand. I understand that. I've been to a number of their gigs and I've had a good time while I'm going. But in terms of a rock and roll, let's rev the crowd up act before a game of sport, they're not it. Their music isn't that. It's that's what it is. It's sort of barbecue reggae kind of stuff, isn't it? Yeah. It's beautiful in the sunshine. I love all of that.
Great summer music.
I wouldn't have picked them. State of Origin, a New Zealand band.
They must have been
a laid-back reggae band playing State of Origin. What the hell?
They must have been a last minute.
Surely.
I used to be a big fan of 660 because I liked their first 2 albums, but everything since has been much more mellow and, as you say, that reggae, folky New Zealand sort of style of music. And good on them. They've made money. They've done well. They're very popular here. I don't really like them anymore, but terrible option to open up State of Origin.
I was amazed. I didn't know anything about this till I got to work today and I started reading the reviews. I was going, oh my God, they're copping it big time, aren't they? I just don't get the connection with State of Origin, why they would get a New Zealand band to do that.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. Alcaraz to beat Novak? Just stop it, mate.
Well, it'd be nice.
Oh,
I'd like to see it.
I think we all would, but is it going to happen?
Probably not. I loved Novak's speech at the end of one of his matches where he said something along, I'm really paraphrasing here, but on the lines of, all these guys, they're playing well, they want to try and beat me, but they won't.
No, look, he's got inside their heads.
Yeah.
He did it from the moment he lost in the quarterfinal at the Italian Open, where he said, you young guys, our time's over now. All you young guys, it's up to you now. And what happens? Alcaraz got to play him at the French and bottle it in the semi-final.
Alcaraz is a kid.
He's 20-something years old,
he's
mate.
20.
If he was running onto the field as a pitch invader, you would treat him as an adult, right? Treat him as an adult tennis player. He's already won a Grand Slam.
You'd give him a Novak top and a racket, wouldn't you?
Lachlan is peeing every 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And
Stop
look, Stuart has texted and said, Lachlan, I got the same problem. Stuart, so what is the solution to your problem? Why is this, mate? What if you drink
Okay, well, this might come across... Okay. Thank you for your support, Stuart. I wonder if we have different reasons as to why we're going to the bathroom a lot. And not to be rude, I feel like it has something to do with age.
Oh, that's what happened. When you get older, you go, okay, what happens is every night I'd go to the toilet definitely once, at least, but probably twice a night. Any more than that, and I think I've got to go see the doctor about it because I'd get a little bro.
So
unless I've had a huge one on the groggers.
Yeah, well, exactly. Now, I get up in good time in the mornings and I go to the gym right before I get into work. So
not every day, ladies.
What I do is
every day doesn't.
I didn't know because I go 3 to 4 days a week. So I don't always. I go Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and sometimes
He's got
Thursdays.
leg day, arm day, knob
Jeez,
day,
my
and what's
legs are
rest day,
still
isn't it?
sore, you know. My arms are still. My shoulders.
Well, why are you peeing all the time?
Okay, so I get up and I have a lemon and salt water drink because it's very good at replacing electrolytes and hydrating you quickly. I drink a lot of water at the gym because when I had a couple of sessions with a personal trainer, he was having a go at me that I wasn't drinking enough water, so I drink a lot of water at the gym. And then once I'm done there and I have my shower, I come into work and whatnot, I then have my coffee because I love my coffee. So by that point, I've pounded so much liquid that in the space of about an hour, I go to the bathroom about 3 times.
Is that normal?
Well, it's good for hydrating yourself. It's like you've got to drink a lot of water in the first few hours after you get up. So I'm just following the tips of neuroscientists and biologists.
Greg Marto Martin, former Wallaby fullback, a Triple M breakfast host out of Brisbane, joins us every Friday on the show. Marto, welcome back, mate. How's your holiday?
Oh, holiday was unreal, and I had a big birthday on during my holiday. 20 men, and they were drunk for 3 days.
Oh, go on.
No, we didn't even try to go fishing. We had 2 fires going at all times. What else can I tell you? There were 5 pullouts. This is when you know you're old. There were 5 pullouts from my birthday party. It was on an island, as you're probably aware. 3 of them had knee injuries, and 2 had skin cancer surgery. That's when you know you're old.
Please tell me that one of those fires was for hand warming and standing around grunting. The other was where meat was seared constantly.
Were you there? Did you have CCTV? Yep. One was just burning this great Aussie hardwood, a product that's becoming extinct. So we just burnt lots of timber. And yes, there was a pig one day. There were 7 chickens or 8 chickens one day, and then there was a lamb one day. So there was and we had one of my mates is Samoan. I don't know whether they're some of the finest spit cookers that I know.
Yep.
So we had a Samoan mate who just cooked all for 3 days. It was just wonderful, mate. It was lots of dribbling. It was like the Australian story. It was just every time someone started talking, they go, I remember when something happened, and everyone would just fall apart. So it was excellent. Thank you for asking.
Well, happy birthday. All right, so Origin last night, I was thinking about this, and I want to celebrate the Blues victory, but it's kind of like, you know, you finally get the date with the girl and you find out that, your mate had actually dated her 2 weeks ago. It's just,
what an analogy.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? Yeah.
But so much of football at that level is about attitude. Queensland had it in the first 2 games because New South Wales were up themselves, and all of a sudden Freddie Fittler makes changes, and they've got the attitude, and we didn't because we were soft and we'd already won the trophy. And I'll give you another one. I know it would have been 12 o'clock, after 12 o'clock at midnight your time, but after 10 p.m. here in Brisbane, and we finally get to lift the trophy, which should have been done 3 weeks ago at our home ground. What is that nonsense?
No.
Like, same with the Bledisloe Cup. Oh, we better wait until all 3 games. No, just give it to you guys after 1 game because you're always going to win it.
I fell as flat as I hear that the New Zealand band 660 were beforehand. Not great reviews for...
Oh, my God, what was that? Did you hear that? Did you hear the news? And I can only guess that's what it's all about. Why 666 or whatever they were called? Why was there a haka before a state of origin? Anyway, did you know that they're considering about selling one of the origins to you guys? Is that news?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Why would you do that, though? I mean, look, I'm sorry. We're not Queensland. We're not New South Wales. I'm absolutely anti this idea. Look, I mean, I'm sorry. I love watching it, but it's not a New Zealand thing.
It's got nothing to do with you.
Nothing.
Bugger off.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's actually got nothing to do with Perth or Adelaide either. They can bugger off in Melbourne. It's just a Queensland, New South Wales thing.
Knock, knock.
Oh, who's there?
The Australian Wallaby Ford Pack.
The Australian Wallaby Ford Pack, who?
Exactly. I mean,
I know.
Yeah, I mean,
who are these people? Did you look at that test match against the South Africans last week and go, what's a Zane Nongor? Anyway, Jesus, were we hopeless?
You were hopeless.
We were worse than I thought we were going to be.
Well, bring back Dave Rennie. All is forgiven or not?
No, God, no. But it's become obvious. I don't know whether Eddie knew what he was in for, but I know he's been making a lot of noise, and marketing-wise it's been great. Oh, look, Australian rugby's news again. Well, it's news again because we probably won't make it to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. That'll be bloody news, won't it? We've got 4 games until the World Cup.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the side of the draw that you're on. You've got the North Island, the South Island, Stewart Island, the Chatham Islands, but you don't actually. Who are you playing?
Well, the good thing is, so we got Argentina this Saturday night, okay, and most likely at the World Cup, if things go as per schedule, sort of thing, we'll play Argentina in the quarters. So if we can't beat them Saturday night, I fair can give up. I was going to go to the World Cup. I've taken 3 weeks off radio to go. I am now not going because I don't want to be embarrassed.
No way.
I'm going to come to New Zealand. I'm going to Queenstown, and I'm going to watch it from over there.
My God,
do you mind if I become a...
Well, I know you've got it all, but you've got a New Zealand in your family somewhere, or some Kiwi connection.
No, I've got Kieran Crowley one day after a test. I think Kieran Crowley or John Gallagher. I think it's John Gallagher's jersey. Can I go around wearing that?
Yes.
And pretend,
yes,
I love
yes,
the All Blacks. Is that okay?
To hear the full interview, download the platform at the App Store. Via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to the whole show and all of the interviews in full. That's our podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to listen to the entire show, 1 till 4, Monday to Friday, download the Platform app, and via Platform Plus, you can go back and listen to whatever shows over however many weeks at your leisure, at your listening pleasure. Platform Plus. First thing to do, though, is download the Platform app.
Devlin.
Unbelievable! Incredible!
The Platform.